Welcome to Fight News Now. I'm John Pollock. Coming up today, I'm going to be chatting with John Ramdeen about all the news from today, including some fights that are being targeted for UFC 200, as well the return of Carla Esparza, and much more coming your way. Also, I had a chance to speak with heavyweight Big Ben Rothwell ahead of his fight that is coming up next weekend in Croatia as he takes on former heavyweight champion Junior Dos Santos. Lots to come, so sit back and check out Fight News Now. We are here on Fight News Now, joined by John Ramdeen to go through all of today's news. We're going to start off with the main event that is happening in Croatia next weekend, as former heavyweight champion Junior Dos Santos is going to be taking on Ben Rothwell, who looks for his 5th consecutive victory. And I had a chance to speak with Rothwell ahead of this fight, and here's what he had to say about fighting Junior Dos Santos and whether he believed he was in line for the next heavyweight title fight after his recent win over Josh Barnett.
I was absolutely ready for the fight. I 100% would have accepted if Verdum was up for it. I was going to fight him that week after the Barnett fight. I was ready for it. I'm ready for it right now, and that's it. You know, it's I believe that just my credentials, the 4-fight win streak, and the kind of competition and I'm beating, kind of already said it. And I feel like a lot of the media and a lot of the fans are saying it too. And that was a lot about what this fight was about. I knew that. Kind of the inside that Stipe and Verdum was going to happen. You know, They stepped up when Kane backed out, and the UFC likes that, and they wanted, they were already kind of giving them the title shot anyway. It's kind of already getting pushed that way before my win. So I kind of knew I could sit around and potentially become a contender, get the title shot, but then you got guys like Overeem and stuff. They're kind of around the corner and they're staying busy, and I knew that sitting around waiting was not the answer. And when this fight got asked 4 days after my Barnett fight, they're like, hey, we don't have to take the fight, but nobody's going to fight him, and we need this fight. And it's a fight that I've been, I've called for a fight against Junior for a couple of years now. Yeah, I would have liked it a lot better had he beat Overeem if he better go into this fight. But when you're in the top 10, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? We have our credentials. Everybody knows who he is, and beating him is still worth a lot, I believe. And for me, it's attaining that 5th win, I think, is going to help solidify my title shot.
That was Ben Rothwell as he gets set to take on Junior Dos Santos next weekend for the UFC's debut card in Croatia. It was a fight that I think it surprised some people, John, when they announced it, given the fact that Ben Rothwell, he's been on a great roll of late, and Junior Dos Santos, he is coming off that loss to Alistair Overeem. But nonetheless, this is a very competitive heavyweight fight as you're going to get amongst those top 10 heavyweights. And with Ben Rothwell, I think that a win over Junior Dos Santos, very hard to dispute a next title opportunity for him if he is able to beat Junior Dos Santos.
Yeah, I agree. And all you have to do is look at the last number of fights of Ben Rothwell to cement that case. But this a lot of people will say, well, so on and so forth, lost to this person. MMA math doesn't work, because if that is the case, you look at this fight with Ben Rothwell, he lost to Gabriel Gonzaga. So should Gabriel Gonzaga be fighting for a championship? What I think people should look at is, like Ben Rothwell said, when you're ranked in the top 10, it's a murderer's row. And I think that what the fans want to see, they want to see a worthy challenger fight for the championship. But what I think they want fresh matchups. And right now, the heavyweight division haven't had as many fresh matchups in the last, say, 10 years as they do right now. And I think that's a good thing for the fans, because they get to see a whole bunch of different styles. Think how many people really thought that Ben Rothwell would submit Josh Barnett. It comes down to stylistic matchups. It comes down to where they are in their career. Are they peaking? And I think Ben Rothwell right now making a strong case for to be next in line for the championship if he can get past Junior Dos Santos. It wasn't that long ago that everybody recognized Junior as the number 2 guy in the division. He has a stoppage win over the current champion right now. But losing to Alistair Overeem, that kind of erases everything that he has done over the last number of years. So I think the heavyweight division right now, it's a great time if you're a heavyweight, because all it takes is a couple of impressive wins and you could be fighting for the title.
Given the recent loss that Junior Dos Santos suffered, I think he's in a position right now, he very much needs a win to continue to stay amongst those top heavyweights. Do you expect him to fight any differently in this particular fight?
No, I don't. I mean, Junior Dos Santos knows what got him to the top of the UFC's heavyweight division. He has this MMA style of boxing. Use your takedown defense, but everybody knows Junior Dos Santos is coming to knock your block off. Sure, he has a jiu-jitsu game, sure he has a wrestling game, but what made him so popular is people seeing him use his fists to drop whatever opponent is standing in front of him, and I don't think he's going to change. Who knows? Maybe the guys at American Top Team, they're going to say, "Hey, we gotta make sure that you're not one-dimensional. You have to kick more. You have to look for takedowns." But I don't know if we're going to see Junior Dos Santos change the way that he fights.
All right, we'll hear more from Ben Rothwell later on in the hour, and an update on Jon Jones. We were discussing his recent legal issues earlier this week. He is, as of this recording, he's still in custody, and he will be until at least Thursday morning, because that's when his hearing will be in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So tomorrow we'll be able to talk about what is next involving Jon Jones and this possible probation violation that he had. Let's chat a bit about UFC 200, because no fights have officially been announced by the UFC, but we're starting to get reports of different fights. The latest ones being a lightweight contest involving Joe Lozon and Diego Sanchez that the VendettaFighter.com site reported. Very fun fight at 155 pounds. And then Ariel Helwani also reporting that they are targeting a fight involving Johnny Hendricks and Kelvin Gastelum in a loser must cut weight, I guess, fight potentially involving those two. I mean, that almost, what a pairing that will be. So there are two more fights for UFC 200 we can likely anticipate. Diego Sanchez and Joe Lozon, they tried to put this one together a while back in 2014.
I would expect this headlines Fight Pass. I would imagine that a fight like that
it could
draw fans to that, because like we all know what these guys are capable of, especially this point of their career. They're clearly not looking to, challenge for a championship. Just go in, entertain the crowd, and if you're subscribed to Fight Pass, this is a fight you have to see. Or is this going to be a part of the main card? I think when you have an event as big...
I think this one will be so deep that
exactly.
This one could be Fight Pass. I mean, it's not even a guarantee. I would say Johnny Hendricks is on the pay-per-view portion.
I agree. And that's the thing. As much as we all like Johnny Hendricks, the guy's a former champion, you can sell him on that. You're trying to make this bigger than UFC 100. We don't know. Is it going to be Nathan Diaz and Conor McGregor at 170 pounds? Is it going to be Conor McGregor and Jose Aldo, the rematch? They're still just unsure. Right now, there's rumblings. They're trying to make the biggest fights possible. But I think this is an excellent matchup between Gastelum and Johnny Hendricks. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if it was at a different weight.
Mm-hmm. With Diego Sanchez, I think as well, I think the performance he had against Jim Miller, I think that gives people a different view of where Diego Sanchez is at. That's still a very quality fighter in Jim Miller, and you compare him here with Joe Lozon. I mean, stylistically, I mean, this is a fight that it would be very, very hard to disappoint.
Yeah, especially if they get into some grappling exchanges, because we've seen Diego, he's very dynamic on the ground, always in tip-top shape. Joe Lozon, one of the most intelligent fighters I've had a chance to talk to. So just thinking about the way that this will play out inside of the cage is pretty exciting.
Also, we have learned that UFC 197, following an injury to Jessica Aguilar, Carla Esparza, the inaugural UFC Women's Strawweight Champion, she will return after more than a year away. She hasn't fought since UFC 185, where she dropped the title to current champ Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and she will draw Juliana Lima. The year away for Carla Esparza, we've heard very little from Esparza, who had that run in the Ultimate Fighter House and then the quick turnaround after winning the title to defend against Jędrzejczyk. So she's had 13 months away at this point, taking this fight on short notice. I think it's going to be really difficult to expect anything here from Carla Esparza. I mean, she's taking on an opponent she'll certainly be favored to win, but it is on short notice, and we really don't know what she's been up to for the year.
Yeah, no offense. I don't expect much from Carla Esparza. We had a team go and talk to her in the past, and she doesn't want to know about the champions. She doesn't want to bring up her fighting past. I think that she just has to, get rid of the ego, realize that this is a work in progress, and Jędrzejczyk was just a better fighter. Her circumstances on the reality show leading to a championship, that's just the way it is. You just put that out of your mind, try to get better, constantly focus on improvement. Don't worry about the distractions. Just get in there and think about what you need to do to improve as a fighter.
And finally, let's touch upon the UFC's next venture into Canada. They'll be in Ottawa, Ontario on June the 18th, announcing a slew of fights. Of course, already we know the main event involving Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Rory McDonald, as well as...
Some people wouldn't even say that's the main event. Some people would say the co-main event's the main event.
Patrick Cote taking on Donald Cerrone. Now, in addition to that, they have added a fight involving Sam Alvey and Elias Theodoro, and your man, Steve Bosse, taking on Sean O'Connell. So this card rapidly is filling up in Ottawa Ottawa. I think this is a very strong fight night event. And in the case of Theodoro and Alvey, I think a lot of people are looking here at Elias Theodoro, who even in defeat in his last fight, suffering that awful cut, I think he gained a lot of followers from that particular fight. And this is one that these two have kind of teased back and forth going against one another.
Yeah, I love this fight. And what I love about Elias is that you look at that last fight he had in Las Vegas against Santos. Didn't look as good as he's looked in the past, but he's getting right back in the horse, and he's facing a guy that you have to smash, you have to break down, because Sam Alvey's just going to keep coming. So Elias taking this challenge very, very seriously, and I like it. He's stepping up.
And Steve Bosse, I mean, I think you're going to draw a lot from the French audience as well, that it's a quick trip to Ottawa.
Yeah, I agree. And word is Ayman Zahabi has also been offered about in Ottawa. So who knows? We could see him make his UFC debut there.
All right. I'm sure we're going to be discussing Jon Jones more this week. And of course, you can always catch 5 rounds with John Randina and Robin Black, who returns next Monday night. Tune in 8 p.m. Eastern Time here on Fight Network.